And right now, we're going to talk briefly about the weekend, because a lot of people are sick to death now of the whole coverage of the royals, but all the papers absolutely full. Lots of the headlines of them this morning. Pa, we are so proud of you. Those were the words of Prince William, of course, last night. A big concert that went on, the first sort of 7 to 10 pages in most newspapers. And in fact, you've got to go all the way, even in the Daily Mail, which you'd have to say is pretty much on Harry's case quite a lot of the time. You have to go all the way back to page 12 and 13 to even find any mention of Prince Harry. So let's talk to Angela Levin, our favourite royal correspondent, to find out what she made of it all. Angela, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
You must be pretty...
I'm someone who likes to work all the time too, so don't worry.
Well, listen, if you're not working on the one weekend when there's a coronation, I think there's probably something wrong with you. But how did you like it? What's your sort of overall thinking about it all?
Well, yes. Not yesterday, day before yesterday, when all the ceremony was going on. I mean, I was in a little tent, getting terribly wet and awful weather. Yeah. And I just was completely absorbed by it. I just adored it. I couldn't be taken away. I mean, it was just so moving and so carefully done that nobody would be upset. I just thought it was brilliant. And also you can see with the close-ups what King Charles was really feeling.
Yes.
I thought to myself it was a mixture of anxiety and emotion and panic sort of feeling about will it all go okay.
Yes.
And that's much more interesting than, say, you know, when Queen Elizabeth got married and we were all distanced from her and you could only see it almost like you're watching television from the other side of the room. But this, you could really feel everybody's emotions.
Yes, and there were certainly points at which Charles himself, the King, looked pretty emotional, particularly that moment where William sort of leaned forward during the coronation to give him a kiss on the cheek.
Yes, and, you know, thank you, William, he's alleged to have said. And you think, oh, poor man, he's gone through so much with his other son, who he loves.
Yes.
Thank goodness that William and he now are close and support each other.
Exactly right, and I did say at the weekend, we did a show, myself and Kevin O'Sullivan, on Saturday, and I did say at the time, you wonder what was going through Harry's mind as he watched his brother actually kissing his father.
Yes, as I've known him quite well, I could sort of slightly analyse what I think he was thinking, and that he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. He's got to please Meghan. He looked so lonely when walking through, the only person who was by himself. All his cousins had partners. There he was alone. A spare, short, certainly, walking down. And he kept looking down when they said, God save the King, and also when William kissed his father. I think there must be a few genes left in him that align him with the royal family after he had it till his mid-30s. And I think he didn't know what to do with himself, really. Yeah. Nobody really wanted to talk to him. He didn't make an effort to look and watch and smile. He said a first line of God Save of the national anthem, but then not. So he sort of distanced himself while he was there. What a terrible situation to be in.
Absolutely, because he couldn't not come. She obviously didn't want to come because she knew that if she did come with him, that really wouldn't be, she wouldn't be the star of the show, and she doesn't like not being the star of the show. And instead we got a rather odd sort of tweet that went out saying that he was wearing Dior. And I suddenly thought, I wonder if he's being paid for that.
Yeah, it sounded like it. I mean, I thought it was a ridiculous thing. Who cares?
Yeah, right. I don't care who made his morning suit.
Yes, exactly. But I think, actually, if Meghan had been there, she would have been in her element because she'd have met all these delightful kings and queens from all around the world. She would be with lots of show business people. Ideal to get contacts that she can phone up and pretend they're friends and get jobs. Yeah. Very interesting, actually. But my real pain about it was that she didn't feel that she would give an inch to the coronation, and that's why Harry had to rush back. He got home about 8 o'clock in the evening.
Right.
No 4-year-old has a party at that time.
No.
It was very easy if he'd had a party the next day. But you see, with Meghan, she has to win and she doesn't like giving in. And so he had to dash off. He didn't have time to say congratulations to his family. He didn't have time to go and have lunch with them. The palace made a very clear statement that it invited him to have lunch at Buckingham Palace. But, you know, they didn't really know whether he'd answered yes or no, but he dashed off and zoomed off. Very unhealthy to go back and forth so many thousands of miles in a day. It doesn't do you...
Yeah, I was reading a piece by Celia Walden the other day in the Telegraph, and she was saying that, you know, she does that flight quite a lot, backwards and forwards to LA, and it's quite... I mean, I mostly go to the East Coast, so it's not quite as long, but it does take it out of you, a long flight like that.
Yes, I mean, it dehydrates you, and it's very odd for your body to be up so high. But, you know, he obviously was under orders that he had to come home.
Yeah.
And I think that
None of that enjoying yourself with your family nonsense.
No. He can't enjoy it. He's got to reject it. And I think there must have been so many... Was there pulling at his heartstrings, you know? Was there that? Does he really hate them? I don't believe he does. I just think he's a very lost man and remains very lost.
No, I think she's kind of made him think that he hates them. I think that's the truth of it. Let's have a look at William from last night. He was speaking, of course, at the royal concert, the coronation concert.
My grandmother said when she was crowned, coronations are a declaration of our hopes for the future. And I know she's up there, fondly keeping an eye on us, and she'll be a very proud mother. Pa, we are all so proud of you. And I also want to express my pride and gratitude for the millions of people who serve in the forces, in classrooms, hospital wards, and local communities.
He's getting quite good at that, isn't he, Angela?
It was very carefully thought through, I thought. And, you know, he seems more relaxed now to talk. He's sort of more chatting than actually giving a speech.
Yes.
I think King Charles, a tear would have come to his eye too to say, you know, how much we think of you now. What an effort to get at least one child who really supports you.
Yeah, and I think as a spectacle, it was very well handled. It was very well organised. Like everything that involves the military and the royal family, they seem to just be able to get it right, don't they?
Yes, they do get it right. They had the right sort of different sorts of colours and the different type of music, and ballet and classical music and modern music. And actually to see them all stand up towards the end and dance in the balcony was, I think, extraordinary. Never seen that before.
Right.
So they obviously had a very good time. Some people complain that Camilla kept looking at her watch, but it seems actually that it's a special watch that moves according to whatever music's going on, so that you can look at it.
Right.
And people said, oh, she was obviously very tired and wanted to go to bed. I think she was fascinated by her watch. Princess Charlotte had the same watch, and she kept looking at it. She kept giving it to her mother to sort it out for her.
Right.
So I think everybody who came had a very special watch. I wish I'd had one.
Maybe it was part of a royal goodie bag that they all got from leaving the Abbey or something like that, you know, and they give you something
Take-home
special.
present.
Yeah, exactly right. And also, I quite enjoyed watching Camilla's sort of mood, if you like, when she was inside the Abbey, because she at times looked to me, once she was wearing the crown, which looked a bit precariously sort of put on her head at times, that she seemed to have a little smirk kind of playing across her lips, almost like she was sort of catching somebody's eye and really quite enjoying it all.
Yeah, I don't think it was a smirk. I think it was a sort of very nervous half smile.
Yes.
Crown had to be altered because she's got quite a large head.
Right.
And I think it was very, very uncomfortable for her. She, like Charles, has a bad back, and I think both of them, it was so heavy, their back hurt, and had this enormous sort of background that had to be pulled along.
Okay.
And I think that it was actually terrifying. They didn't look at each other. Charles and Camilla didn't look at each other very much. And I thought that was probably because if they did, they might have burst out into tears.
Right.
It was too stressful.
Yes.
You could see they both found it an amazingly moving, powerful experience.
Oh, I think so. And so what changes now then? Because, you know, he was the king, but now he's sort of officially the king, as it were. She's now the queen. Does it change their relationship with the country? Does it change their relationship with each other?
No, it won't change their relationship with each other. I think that now that it's all signed and sealed, that King Charles can start making all the changes he wanted to do. He couldn't do that really before. He didn't want to do that before, out of respect to his mother, and also that you never know what might happen in Parliament that overrides everything. So now he's got the kingship, and he can now make a lot of changes. We saw lots of changes during the coronation. You know, women, religious leaders, and opening it up to all faiths, and having children there instead of peers who would bow and had their crowns on. No crowns apart from the king and the queen. So it's sort of modernising. And Prince Philip always used to say the way the royal family should modernise is to do things so gently and quietly that nobody really notices until it's really done.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what happened. And I think that I don't think we'd have had the dancing by any other royal couple. And also that, you know, you can start making the changes. And I think he'll be modernising in all sorts of ways. He wants to be a man of the people. He wants to talk to the people. And William said, too, it's all about service. And, of course, King Charles said the same thing. He wants to serve. He doesn't want to be served. He wants to look after and care for all of us, and in the coronation, abroad and at home. And I think he will make a very good king, and with the support of Camilla, who won't think that things are 50-50. She's there to support him and help him and actually give an idea of what a normal life is like, which she had experience of for, 50-odd years, whereas him and also William haven't ever had. And it's very helpful to have a wife who understands more the public from, the things that they have to do.
Yes. Indeed. Lovely to talk to you, Angela. Thank you very much indeed. You can probably take a couple of days off now for this week. Angela Levin, royal biographer, on the news of all the papers have got this morning. Something like 15 pages. They've got supplements. They've got all manner of things. We'll talk about it, I'm sure, over the course of the week.